Well, good morning. Happy New Year. It's great to see your smiling faces. I hope you were able to celebrate appropriately last night. It is helpful to have in the reading that the timeline that Herod had heard from the wise men included children that were 2 years or under. It's helpful because timelines help us to understand where to put things and how to put things into perspective. And yet here we are, 1 week out of Christmas, and we're fleeing for Egypt. Notice the wise men have made their visit and they've gone out the back door. The shepherds have gone back to their sheep. Mary and Joseph have the donkey on hand, ready to flee to Egypt. This day is traditionally, or by practice, a day when we make resolutions. People have asked me this week, how do you decide what you're going to prioritise for the year? How do you decide what your objective is for the year? Well, my objectives are pretty well sorted already. I've got to pass Greek, right? That's what the bishop told me. And in order to stay here, I'll pass Greek. The directions that we take are really important for the way that we walk, right? So we went to a friend's place in Darling Point last night, and the directions that we took from them decided whether we walked down the hill and back up again, or whether we stayed up high and walked across with relatively little hill to climb. Often the choices we make give us bigger hills to climb. Often the choices that we make for a downhill trip that's easier and seems to be more fun can end up with a much larger uphill in front of us. It is fitting, says the writer of Hebrews, that God, for whom and through whom all things exist, in bringing many children to glory, should make the pioneer of their salvation perfect through sufferings. The writer to the Hebrews is asserting that the one who came among us came as one of us, experienced what we experienced, knows what it's like to walk uphill, knows what it's like to be under threat, knows what it's like to have a life that is being threatened or shaped by the people around it, by violent threats and actions. Often those things that shape our lives are internal, medical things, psychological issues, baggage that we've picked up from previous relationships. All of these things make for an uphill journey. Relationships we still carry, relationships that we struggle with. These can be heavy burdens to carry. As you walk into this year, I wonder whether it might be helpful to notice that the one who is about to flee to Egypt is the one who created heaven and earth. The one who is helpless in his mother's arms is the one who died on the cross to save you, stretching out his arms. This is the uniqueness of Christianity, that forgiveness is wrought by a God who gives himself to us, sacrifices himself for us, and lives so that we might live. Having conquered death, it says, going on in Hebrews, therefore, since the children share flesh and blood, he himself likewise shared the same things, so that through death he might destroy the one who has the power of death, that is, the devil. This is a victory that is hard to grab hold of sometimes, because it feels like the devil is in, well, the saying is the devil is in the details, but feels like there's the potential for the devil to get into every plan that we have. Every action that we take seems to be fraught with possibility for things falling apart or being destroyed or destructive. That was the nature of my week prior to Christmas. Things happening, including death, that brought my best laid plans unpicked. Amanda had offered to come with me into the public housing down the street and deliver hampers, and I had to go and visit someone whose husband had died. Actually, I had to go to Hobart for foster kids. The plan was still a good plan, though. The plan to go and take hampers had been in place for months before that. The preparation and supply of them had been arranged the month before, and the delivery of them was the only part to do. I admit I had fears. I had fears that the hampers would be received as arrogance, that the rich people from up the hill might be thinking that the poor people down the hill might need some noodles to get through Christmas. That's not an inappropriate expectation, I got to say, because it could easily be received as that. However, when I got to the doors and knocked, every door was answered with suspicion, firstly, who is it who wants to come into my house? And then with great joy when they heard that I had a gift for them. Not just a gift, but I apologetically said, this is just some very plain groceries, but I hope it might be helpful for you this Christmas. And they were rejoicing. There's a few problems there. Because I'm coming at Christmas, it's a Christmas hamper, right? But if they're receiving it with joy, such joy, at this time of year, what do they do every other week of the year? This small box of groceries, one family had three young boys in it. I don't know if you've ever fed 3 teenage boys, but they eat a lot. They could go through that box in a day on their own, one of them. So we have a great need at the bottom of our hill, just 2 blocks away. I only got through 20 hampers, made it through half of 1 block of housing. So it feels like the need that is right in front of our nose is so great that it could be overwhelming. It feels like we can't even possibly begin to imagine what it would take to engage with those people in meaningful ways. And yet, we're called out with what we have to engage with the people who are in front of us, our neighbours. I'm wearing my BCA stole again because I believe this is the hermeneutic that helps us to understand the text. Mission is the way that we understand the text. It's the key that unlocks the meaning for it, and we understand the text, it makes sense, and all of the irrelevancies fall to the side when we're on mission. When I'm faced with this family in front of me who's receiving the hamper with joy, everything falls into place. When I sit with the lady whose carer didn't show up and I say, I can wash up for you, and instead she talks to me for an hour, maybe at me, it makes sense. I'm not there to be their grocer. I'm not there to be their shopping person. I'm not even there to wash up for them, because in the end she decided it was more important for me to listen to her than it was for me to wash up for her. What we're there for is to be the presence of God in Paddington. We don't have to meet all of their needs. They need to know that the one who saved us, the one who came among us, knows what they're into, knows what they're suffering, knows what their struggles are, and still loves them. Loves them not just in an esoteric, abstract kind of way, but in a practical, engaged way that does something about it. So, while Joseph's got his dreams and visions that help him to know when to leave for Egypt and when to come back and when to go to Nazareth, we have the mission that we're called to. We have this guide that says, get on and do it. Be the people you're called to be. Do the things that you're gifted to do, and you will find your way. You will find me on the way, says Jesus, and we will not get lost. I might be overstating it, but I think mission is our GPS. It's the thing that keeps on saying, reorient your life. Not to staying safe, not to being right, but rather to being in the right place, doing the right thing for others. And in that place, we will find our way, and we will find that salvation is right in front of us. Amen.